Alright. Okay. I just recorded this and I went for like 20 minutes and it didn't record. So that's super unfortunate. But anyway, I got time. This is brought to you by Killcliff, sponsored at Kill the Quit. So I got asked earlier this morning, why are we doing a 5K? Great question. Okay? Because it doesn't look like our typical workout, right? It's a little different. It's a little longer. It's a little... I get it. It's a little monotonous. All right? It's... Right. A lot of people didn't show up and do it. I think we got like 140 something people that come to this gym, and probably 40 or 50 of you showed up and actually did the 5K. But why do we do it? And I guess that's a really good question. Why do we do anything that we do? That's an existential question to think about. But no, I have the answer to why we do the 5K. Okay? And the reason is because I want to see you all be really, really freaking fit. If you look at... So as a programmer for the gym, I look at the gym and I say, okay, what... You got people here that have goals, right? And some people are really goal driven. Some people are like, yeah, I have goals, but I like the process. I just enjoy working out. Okay? Neither's wrong. Everyone's got their reasons. Some people want to look good naked. Some people want to be stronger. Some people want to do what they're doing at 30 when they're 40, and what they're doing at 40 when they're 50, what they're doing at 50 when they're 60, and so on and so forth. Right? You know, we're one of those gyms that we have an 11-year-old right now working out. Well, if you count the kids, we have 5-year-olds that are working out on the same day that someone who's almost 80. I think our oldest might be 80 or getting close to it. So in the same day, you have someone who's 5 and someone who's 80. I mean, probably different goals, whatever. All right? But the goal's different, but the intent behind what they're doing is the same. Okay, we want to be functional human beings. We want to challenge ourselves. We want to push ourselves beyond what we believe we're capable of, because it gives us a even better life outside of the gym. Right? It not only challenges us physically, but it challenges us mentally, emotionally. We have our good days, our bad days. It happens in the gym. It happens outside the gym. But we know we're better for being able to handle that adversity. It's that adversity test every day that we experience in the gym that makes us better for it when it comes outside the gym. And that's why I think the beautiful thing of CrossFit is it's not just that 1 hour that you're doing your class. Now, that being said, most people only have 1 hour, and you got to look at, okay, as a CrossFit programmer, what CrossFit is really based around. We're going to go short, we're going to go intense, we're going to get everything out we can out of this movement or out of this workout that we can. We're going to squeeze the lemon dry, and we're going to move well, and we're going to strive to move with perfection, and we're not going to stop till we get as close to what our body will allow us to do in terms of movement. And the big one that I think gets lost a lot is we're going to attack our weaknesses. Okay, just like we have to attack what we're weak at outside of the gym, we're going to attack what we're weak at inside the gym. We're not going to run from things because they're a challenge. Okay, everything in your life that you've built up, or that's gotten you to where you are today, you've gone through some sort of challenge to achieve or to acquire something that you have right now, whether it's job, life, spouse, children, whatever it is, you've overcome something that was relatively difficult. Okay, and we all have our different challenges, and we all handle challenges different in how we view them, yada yada yada. It's not a we'll talk about comparisons and crap like that at the end, but It's not about, comparing this challenge to that, whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about, hey, we've overcome some things, and the gym is just another way that we view what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and what we're going to improve on. And we're not going to run from what we're not good at. So I look at programming and I'm like, hey, this is where we're going to live, right here. 7 to 14-minute WODs. Most gyms that do it well live here a lot. 7 to 14-minute workouts. Okay? That 7-minute range, maybe working into 10 minutes, maybe working up to 12. It's where you get that beautiful combination of you can move weight or you can do a higher volume of things, but the intensity stays, but the lungs start to burn and the muscles start to burn. You go way past that, the intensity starts to drop off. And what I mean by intensity, let's think of intensity as just like how hard are you actually going, right? If you're doing push-ups, right? And let's say like you could do 30 in a row, whatever. You could do 30 good push-ups in a row. That's pretty intense once you get to 30. Like you're going pretty intense. But if I said, hey, you got to do 90, you're not going to do 30 at the gate. And if you do 30 at the gate, it's going to start off as a really intense workout. Like let's say this is your workout, 90 push-ups. It's going to start off really intense, but the intensity is going to drop off. Okay? Because it's not going to be about how hard the push-up is. It's going to be about how fast you're going and how many times you're doing push-ups and how quickly you're doing push-ups mixed with how hard is it. So if you do 30 at the gate, yeah, that was really intense part of the workout. But the last 60 won't be intense because you'll be doing like 4 or 5 at a time. Sure, it's going to burn. It's not going to bother your lungs at all because you're never going to be moving enough for it to bother your lungs. It's just going to turn into a chest workout, right? Which by definition of how we coach, that's not intensity. Difficulty doesn't equal intensity. Intensity is a combination of how often are you performing a repetition mixed with how difficult is the repetition. And intensity is putting those two things together. And you will generally find the sweet spot, the beautiful spot of that in 7 to 14 minutes. That's where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. Like if you only had 2 hours to work out a week, this should be the meat of each workout. Warm up, do your 7 to 14-minute WOD, cool down. Maybe do a little bit of strength work. Maybe you do a little mini action cardio. But you should live here. This is your home. Why can't you just go to your home? Come on, ball. But you live in your home, you gotta take a vacation once in a while. Right? Like this is where you're gonna spend most of your time. This is where we program most of the time, is that 7 to 14-minute range. Right? Now, a lot of our strength work is probably somewhere around here. Okay? It's not quite to over Grace, doing Fran or Grace, and it's not a deadlift max. Deadlift max, you're doing that 3 to 4 times a year. If you're deadlift maxing more than that, that's fine. Let me be clear. If you want to deadlift max more than 3 or 4 times a year, I'm totally cool with that. But just know, if you've been deadlifting for a while, because everyone who's been deadlifting for a while should probably know this at this point, that first time you deadlift max, you're fine. The next day, you're fine. Unless you went absolutely stupid, you're fine. The second time you deadlift max, you're probably still fine, as long as you were not being dumb. That third and fourth time you start deadlift maxing, and that number increase starts getting smaller and smaller, right? Because the first time, let's say you're someone like me, I never lifted weights. And so when I started lifting weights, my deadlift went from like 135 to 315 in like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, you know, which for an 18 to 21-year-old guy is pretty common. Like an 18 to 21-year-old guy with a long history of playing sports to go from like 135 to 315 deadlift at that age, pretty gosh darn common, right? And you see it all the time. Like, that's just a ratio. I see people come in all the time and they pick up 35 pounds on their deadlift the first week. And they're like, ooh, that's different. By the time they try their first deadlift max, it might be a month later, 2 months later, 4 months later, whatever. They're already doing 100 and something pounds. Or they're already doing like 75. Which, if you do the math on that, that's exponential. Like, you go from 35 pounds to 75 pounds. Right? Like, look at how much you literally just doubled your max. Right? You go from 35 to 105. Shoot, shawty. We getting strong up in here. Okay? But after you deadlift for a while, it's a diminishing return. Like, you're going to put in a lot of work, and you got to be okay with that. Alright, but this deadlift max, this is like you go to vacation out in Aruba. Like, you're going to Bahamas, you're going to, I'm just naming stereotypical island places. I don't know where people vacation. I've been outside of North Carolina probably 12 times. And the farthest I've been was Oklahoma. Shout out Sooners. But you're probably not, you go there, you enjoy it, you come back, but you almost need like a vacay from a vacay. Because once you start deadlifting max a lot, and people who have deadlift max quite a few times at the gym, like you guys who have been coming for 2, 3, 4 years, you know that when you deadlift max, it takes a couple days to kind of get right. Right? And it's not necessarily like your back hurts. It's not like you hurt something. And like, it just feels like you contracted every muscle in your body. You ever like thrown up? Like convulsive throwing up? Like hugging the toilet type stuff? That's kind of what it's like. Like, you squeeze every muscle and you're like, man, my core is tight. My back is sore. My upper back's sore. My lats, my legs. What? I only did 1 rep. It's like, yeah, that's what it's like when you get strong and you deadlift. You can do more weight than just about any other lift. That's what it's like when you get a big max and you start lifting right. But you got to go there. You got to go there on deadlift. You got to go there on squats. You got to touch it. And you will get to a point where you might not need to necessarily have that max go up, but you need to have that feeling of going heavy, like heavy, safely, with good technique. But everyone needs to touch that throughout the year a few times of going heavy. Alright? You don't have to base it around a number. It doesn't have to be like an all-time max, but you need to pick up a weight, or you need to squat a weight, or push a weight, whatever. That's heavy. Right? Because the thing that's going to do to your system is challenge it down to a cellular level. You're going to have all these crazy reactions that go in your body. That's so positive. Your hormones are going to love it. You got to go heavy once in a while. But after you train for a little bit, you can't do that all the time. You cannot go max weight on your big lifts all the time. It'll drain you too much. Okay? Same thing over here. Run, row, bike, 10K. Run is a loose term. I more mean like go hike a mountain. This is your other vacation spot, dude. We're probably not going to do this in class. I'll just be honest. It's not a super feasible thing, and we've gone pretty far. We've done more than 5K in a class in terms of like if you combine the bike and the row, we've done that multiple times on Thursdays. If you've shown up to a Thursday, we've had some pretty crazy Thursday workouts that take you 25 to 35 minutes. And they make you burn. You're good right after you finish the workout because intensity never gets high enough. It's not like a deadlift max, and you feel good and you feel okay the next day. But we've done more than 5K, but you probably won't get to a 10K in class. Okay, but it's still good. I would never tell you not to go touch that every couple months on your own. Go hike up a mountain. Go do some rowing, get outside, go bike on a real bike, right? Go enjoy that. Go have a very long distance. Test your fitness that way. Your body's gonna respond in a good way. Now, unless you're used to it, because you can get used to this. You can get to the point where you do this every day if you want. All right. You don't have to, and it's time consuming. That's the other thing. Like, how much time do you have? Does everyone have time to like get on a bike for an hour a day? Because remember, this is done in like 7 to 15 minutes, and I get to do a bunch of other stuff like stretching stuff. I don't have time for an hour a day. But once in a while, it's good. Why did we 5K row today? Well, that's the other end of the spectrum. You got these two spectrums that are right outside these 7 to 14 minute WODs. You do something like Grace or Fran, 21:59. Like tomorrow's workout is a good example of this. It's got dumbbell thrusters and pull-ups. That's at really high intensity, and like people who love that and go hard and are laying on the floor dying after that typically don't do well with this because they get bored and they don't like it. They don't want to go that far and they don't like cardio. But people who tend to like really love this are like, I love when we go 15, 30 miles and I can just sweat and stuff. Oh my god. They tend to like not do this very well because they don't know how to go hard. You gotta go for it. When you do this, like everyone knows who's done Grace, right? It's like 2 to 5 minutes. Or let's do Fran as an example. When you do that workout, you gotta go for it. You should be pushing. By the time you end that workout, you should be like, guys, I'm gonna need a minute. I gotta collect my thoughts. Right? And if you weren't like, guys, I need a minute, I gotta collect my thoughts, guess what? Given that your technique and your form is good, let's make the movement a little bit tougher. Let's up the weight just a little bit. Congrats, you are fitter. And those goals, those aesthetic goals, you want to look better naked, you want to be better, or you want to do what you're doing at 30 when you're 40, what you're doing at 40 when you're 50, what you're doing at 50 when you're 60. Congrats, you just made all this better because you got fitter. You're able to measure that, right? Now, it's not all about the weight and increasing things because it's not about anybody else. It's about you versus you. This is your race. CrossFit, you're not doing CrossFit as a sport. If I named off all the goals while you're here, is one of them the CrossFit Games? No. Then what someone else is doing on Wodify has nothing to do with you. Alright? I know it can be kind of fun to look on there, like, get competitive, whatever. Do not compete with someone else until you understand how to compete with you. It's not about that. The Wodify scores are not about that. It's about you tracking and understanding how to get the intent out of every workout so it's making the best version of you. Because CrossFit's going to show you what you're weak at. And you need to attack those weaknesses. Just like you would attack those weaknesses outside of the gym in your daily life. You don't hide from them. You go after them. You improve. You face challenges. You overcome. And if you don't overcome them, you freaking try. Okay? Your success is going to be measured in your effort and your ability to make effort to overcome things. It's not going to be measured in what gets handed to you because it was easy. So it has nothing to do, every workout you do, because everyone's got the workout they love and the workout they hate, or the workout they love and the workout they hate. You need to learn to attack the things that you hate. Because all of this works together to make the fittest you. Right? And we're going to live here the most. And we're going to occasionally go over here. And we're going to occasionally go over here. and we're going to hit this maybe once a week or once every couple weeks, and we're going to go as hard as this once a week or every couple weeks. But we're going to live here, and that's where the best you lies. Now, within all of this lies all your weaknesses and all your strengths. The strength thing is such an interesting thing because nobody will talk about what they're good at. And I hear people always talk about what they suck at, right? But it's kind of like, let's say we were holding class, and I took the person who had, I hate to even use the phrase weakest. I hate to even use the phrase. Let's just use lowest. And I took the person, and let's say they've been training for a few months, just a few months. And I took the person with the lowest deadlift in the class. But then I take 100 people from random people from Wayne County, and I put them in the same class. That person with the lowest deadlift no longer has the lowest deadlift, and it's probably not even close. Maybe that's CrossFit Bohica privilege. I don't know. But I know that for a fact. Why? Because I see it all the time. I think sometimes I really, I talk to some of you guys sometimes. I want to shake you when you say you suck at something. I'm like, dude, you don't realize how. And I'm not saying this as like you owe it to me or you owe it to the gym. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you owe it to yourself to like take your wins sometimes, because like I want to shake you and be like, you don't understand how, and you earned it, but how privileged you are to be complaining about that. And when I say that, I mean like, dude, we got 100 and something pound. I don't even want to make the weight comparison. I mean, we have ladies that deadlift like 200 pounds. We have ladies that deadlift 250 pounds. We got a few ladies that deadlift like around 300 pounds. It's like, chick, do you not realize you're a 1%er? What are you doing? Like, I know you want to be tough on yourself, and I know you want that 5 more pounds, but, and I'm not saying you have to be satisfied with everything. I'm not saying don't work hard. Don't try to make the best version of yourself, right? But also, make sure you do that self-reflection now and then. Like, remind you how badass you are, all right? I'm a huge fan of take your wins when you get your wins. And be hungry at all times. It's okay to want more, but you got to take your wins when you get wins, right? Because it's not about anyone else. It's about you versus you. It's about what am I doing to improve on the things that I'm weak at while still maintaining this high level of fitness and accomplishing everything that I want to accomplish. And I'm always moving forward, even when I have a crap day, even when I don't PR, even when I don't do well, based on my own personal reflection, right? You got to really like look at the journey you're on and how far you have come from where you were. You just got to always have that self-reflection, because it's not about anyone else. It's about you versus you, right? And things are going to change over time. You're going to have to make those adjustments, and it's okay. All right? But don't hide from your weaknesses. Always attack them, and always do everything in the gym with intent. And allow that to bleed over into your life and approach everything you do outside of the gym with intent. Well, that was a little ramble. That was a little rambly. That was 25 minutes. The other one was 18. So I added 7 minutes talking just for you guys. So you're lucky that the first one, because I know you guys like listening to my voice. Okay? But, so there's your 25-minute answer on why did we do a 5K row. Okay? Capiche? Alright, so the answer is go out, attack your weaknesses, and build yourself up brick by brick.